before we begin, I'd like to cover a few items to help familiarize you with the ON24 console. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see multiple application widgets that you can use, and all these widgets are resizable and movable. You'll also have the ability to ask questions throughout the webcast and can submit them through the Q&A widget. Our question managers are standing by, and they're ready to respond to your questions, and they'll try to answer them all by the end of the event. You can also find answers to some common technical issues located in the Help widget, also at the bottom of your screen. And finally, an on-demand version of today's webcast will be available about an hour after the event, and you can access it through the same audience link that was sent to you earlier. So with that taken care of, let's begin today's webcast.
Hey, thanks a lot, Andy. That was a great introduction. Let's get us started here. Thanks again, everybody, for joining this morning. I know it's the start of probably a busy day for many of you, and I appreciate you taking your time for this introduction to our latest product release. So I'm Ann Heck. I run product marketing here at NVIDIA for what we've been calling our Grid virtualization product. And today we are re-announcing and rebranding one of our products, which many of you probably are familiar with as the Grid Virtual Workstation product. And we are rebranding that product as the Quadro Virtual Data Center Workstation. We're introducing a whole host of new capabilities and functionality into this product, which justifies us branding it as a Quadro Virtual Data Center Workstation. And to get us started, I just want to set some context for what we see in the market and really why we're making this change. So in talking to customers, analysts, following the market, and actually really pushing the envelope ourselves in terms of innovation and introducing new technologies, we see a real shift happening. And I'm sure many of you experience this as well. And a lot of these trends and these words you're probably familiar with. And we realize that a lot of these trends actually are juxtaposed to one another. So employees want a better, more visual workspace. They want an immersive, graphically intensive work experience. But at the same time, they want to be mobile. They want to work everywhere and anywhere. They want to be able to take their office on the road and work wherever they want to, especially our creatives, our designers, our architects, who need to have a creative environment in order to do their work. But they also want to be collaborative. They don't want to be alone. They want to work with other people. They want to be able to work face-to-face, even if it's virtually, and they want to be able to collaborate on designs, files, models. And these models are getting larger, and the data that drives them is getting larger. And that data and that information is, for many of our customers, their core IP. They're incredibly important and critical to their ability to innovate and their ability to stay competitive. So protecting that information, securing it, is very important. At the same time, this category of professional designers, engineers, they want access to the latest technologies like virtual reality, photorealism, in order to create models and designs that they can see and experience and iterate on in a collaborative environment before they even start a prototyping phase. At the same time, they want to be able to gain insights and learn from the data that they're using. So using technologies like inferencing, for example, that speeds their time to design and gives them better insight. And so for our customers who are in this IT environment and trying to support these new workflows, it's a lot of challenges that you have. Quadro has been powering this ability for IT to meet these challenges. So with powering the most advanced workstation and the workflows that enable some of the most competitive industries in the world that live and die by their ability to create and innovate, whether it's media and entertainment or manufacturing, architecture, oil and gas, and visual simulation. Quadro delivers those designers, those engineers, a photorealistic, immersive, collaborative environment that they can rely on to do their jobs. Quadro is able to do that because it offers the best performance in the industry. It enables features in ISV applications that other alternative solutions don't. So they get capabilities and performance that can't be met anywhere else by any other product or technology. It's highly reliable because we certify those applications, and with many years of experience and tested and true technology, it's reliant and efficient to manage for the industry. So for those of us, or those of you who were at SIGGRAPH a couple of weeks ago, we've embarked on a strategy to make sure that Quadro experience is accessible in as many places and in many ways as possible. So we took what has been our desktop workstation, our Quadro desktop workstation, and we introduced a mobile workstation, our thin and light, so that it can go on the road, it can be mobile, and we introduced external graphics so that PCs, laptops that don't have the power of Quadro can also experience Quadro. So designers, anywhere, any way they want to work, can access Quadro in new ways. And today, what we're announcing is actually a Quadro virtual data center workstation. So taking Quadro and putting it in the data center so you can virtualize access to that Quadro capability. So let me talk about how we're able to do that and what makes that possible. So with this release, Quadro is supported by the full Pascal system, all the Pascal GPUs, So we support the P4, the P40, the P100, and we're introducing a new P6, which is a blade configuration. That enables us to virtualize accelerated workflows that require compute as well as accelerated graphics. So we're able to support in a one-to-many workflow, so many users, more than one engineer, for example, working off of the same GPU in a virtualized environment, doing CUDA or OpenCL workflows alongside being able to do accelerated graphic workflows. We also have a number of customers that are on Linux workstations, and for those customers, we have actually added the capability to access the NVINC off the GPU, which allows taking the video streaming workload off of the CPU and offloading that to the GPU. That gives end users a more immersive video experience that is a better performance, and it actually also increases the ability of IT to increase density on that server with that added compute capacity. And then with this release, because we're supporting shipping Pascal hardware, that means that customers who want to migrate to the virtual data center workstation have a plethora of options in terms of servers. So over 120 servers on the market. So in the past, our virtual workstation was limited to 3 Maxwell boards, but now we're adding, again, the support for all of our Pascal lineup, giving our customers a breadth of options. And so what does that mean? What can you do with that? So for the end user, it means an accelerated productivity with 2x performance increase compared to the Maxwell deployment on an M60. So that was comparing a P40 to an M60. We're seeing up to a 2x performance in graphics acceleration. So much faster time to productivity and cycles and iterations in terms of design. We're also seeing, because the P40 in this example has 3 times the GPU memory of the Maxwell predecessor per GPU, it means that designers, architects are able to interact and model much larger data sets. It also means we're able to support in a virtual one-to-many environment more sophisticated workflows. So we're enabled to support CAE and simulations with applications like ANSYS, and we're able to support photorealism. Some of those workflows we were able to support in our prior release, but only on a one-to-one basis. So it meant that customers, an end user had to have access to the full GPU, and now we're able to put multiple users on a single GPU, sharing the resources through virtualization. That means for IT, better efficiency and the ability to support more users with this experience. And increased reliability with a new quality of service feature. So we're introducing a new GPU scheduler that enables IT to ensure a quality of experience for each individual user and prevent what is sometimes referred to as a noisy neighbor, somebody who is sharing the GPU, but maybe has a very large workflow that they're working on, and so ends up hogging the GPU, and that degrades the experience for other people in the virtualized environment. So, I didn't mean to go that fast through that. So I want to just hit on this slide just quickly. So this is our performance data. We did spec vPerf benchmark comparing, and I referenced this in the prior slide, the Tesla P40 versus the M60 on a GPU to GPU comparison. The single GPU within the M60 can support the maximum profile of an 8Q profile, and the P40 maximum profile supported is a 24Q. So that's what we compared here. And you can see that you have significant improvement in performance up to 2x. So I'm going to transition here. So these are the products that you're familiar with as our NVIDIA Grid product line. We have a virtual PC, a virtual apps product, and these products too are being enhanced and improved in this release. So just to kind of recap of where we're at in this launch announcement, in this webinar, we've talked about our new NVIDIA Quadro Virtual Data Center workstation, which is now replacing the rebranded version of our Grid virtual workstation. For customers, I want to assure you who are on a current license and can access upgrades or qualify for upgrades, you would have a natural upgrade to the Quadro Virtual Data Center workstation. So the intent of this transition is not to create disruption for our customers, but really just to clarify the value of the workstation product for our customers and emphasize the value of the Quadro capabilities in that product, and make it really a fourth option for designers and engineers. And so now I'm going to dive in and talk about our virtual Grid platform for PCs and apps and what's changed there. So to sort of reset the market and what's happening in the rest of the enterprise, so here the offering is really targeted at your knowledge worker, your office worker. The data center workstation obviously is targeted at your engineer, your architect, your designer. The VPC, our Grid VPC and vApps, is really targeted to address the needs of the knowledge worker. And what we're seeing from data and from talking to customers and analysts is that as customers go to a Windows 10, they're experiencing an increase in CPU consumption, which is driven by calls to DirectX and OpenGL. So it's a much more resource-intensive operating system. And introducing a GPU into a Windows 10 VDI environment means offloading that traffic, and it gives our customers the ability to increase user density as well as introduce better performance because of the GPU. We're also seeing in the marketplace that as applications evolve and are updated, when we compare versions of typical office productivity applications like PowerPoint, email, Skype, even Excel, there is an increase in graphics consumption, graphics requirements, which is pulling a lot of customers to look to GPU as a resource to add to their VDI stack for their digital workplace and their knowledge workers. So we're seeing that applications that require graphics has doubled since 2012, so over the past 5 years, and over half of enterprise users access at least one graphics accelerated app to do their job. So we're really seeing a need to introduce GPU into the virtualization environment, where prior it hadn't actually been a requirement. And in order to address this need, we are introducing an update and upgrade to our NVIDIA Grid virtual PC and virtual app products. So with the introduction and support for our Pascal architecture, we're able to support 50% more users per physical GPU. So 50% more virtual GPUs per physical GPU. So that means better density, more users, better scalability at the same performance. So for the IT department and for our customers, it means better cost efficiency, and especially for this category of worker where we want to provide a more immersive quality experience, we understand that managing cost is a core requirement. We've also introduced as part of this release the new Pascal P6, which is, again, our blade configuration, which provides also higher density. And the frame buffer on the Pascal is 16 gigabytes. The P6 is 16 gigabytes, whereas the predecessor, the M6, had 8 gigabytes of frame buffer. So that's double the frame buffer, so up to double the density of users. The other capability and feature we're introducing is better quality of service. So again, we're able to manage the GPU resource allocation per user through an updated deterministic quality of service feature, a GPU scheduler. And we're also introducing a high availability license server. A lot of our customers currently use our license server, and with this release, we are mandating it. But we're also making it highly available so that there'll be no disruption to your business if, for any reason, it goes down. And we'll also, we'll have additional follow-up and QA on this. We're making sure that there isn't any disruption in business. So there's a lot of flexibility in terms of making sure that you're notified, and there's a long notification period so your users aren't interrupted. And then lastly, I want to emphasize that while we're introducing the 4 Pascal boards that we support with this release, we are continuing to support the current Maxwell family of cards that are already in the market. So that's our M10, our M60, and the M6. And just like with our data center workstation, because Pascal is already a shipping GPU, there's already systems and servers out in the market. And you might even have some of these in your data center. And if you do, you can download and use our NVIDIA Grid software as well as the new Quadro data center workstation on your existing hardware, your existing Pascal hardware. So I just wanted to reemphasize that we understand cost is important, affordability in order to deliver graphic acceleration to your knowledge worker. And we are maintaining our same pricing, and that allows you to provide an experience at as low as $6 a month for a virtual PC license, as well, and in addition to that, $2 a month for your virtual app. This is just a quick recap because I know we've gone through some product changes, and I want to make sure that the licensing and the terminology is understood. So again, we've always had in Grid, 3 products: the virtual application product, the virtual PC product, and then the Grid virtual workstation. The virtual PC and virtual app is really targeted at the volume and knowledge worker, digital workplace, and Windows 10 deployments, for example, and the workstation has been always targeted and designed to meet the needs of the professional graphics designer. With the introduction and rebranding, all we're doing is really is changing the name and updating the capabilities and functionality more in line with a Quadro functionality. And so we're changing the name of the virtual workstation to Quadro Virtual Data Center Workstation. So better features, better capabilities to meet the needs and the demands of the professional visualization designer that requires both accelerated graphics and compute simultaneously in a virtualized environment. And then, of course, we've doubled down and reintroduced new capabilities for our virtual PC and our virtual application products. So now I'm going to go over some of the features that actually benefit the entire portfolio and that make these products data center ready. So with this release, for all of these products, we're introducing enhanced end-to-end management and monitoring. So we, about a year ago, introduced both guest-level monitoring and host-level monitoring. And I think it's not bold to say that we're the only virtual GPU platform in the market that provides management and monitoring at this level. So if you are delivering a Quadro data center workstation to your highly valuable engineers, designers, you want to make sure you can manage that experience and that it's always going to be up and reliable. So we spend a lot of time and energy, engineering-wise, making sure that our IT customers, our IT admins and users are able to do that with this enhancement of adding application-level monitoring as well. And what that means is that the help desk, you're able to identify if an experience at the end user is maybe glitchy or laggy. You're able to actually diagnose if there's a specific application that's causing that lag and the degraded experience. This also, with this additional insights across your end-to-end deployment and the full life cycle of your virtual GPU deployments, you're able to actually really right-size and manage the VM, the virtual machine, and the amount of GPU that each individual user needs, because you're able to finally see what they're using, how much they're using, and what they need. So we're giving IT admins the resources they need so they can actually diagnose and better provision resources across their data center. That means better cost, better efficiency, better uptime, and being able to preempt problems before they become escalations. And then finally, what we've done in this release is we've added integration with VMware's vROPS. So in May, we announced integration of our management and monitoring tools with Citrix Director. We also support a number of third parties like Lakeside and Liquid Labs and ControlUp and EG Innovations. And then with this release, we're adding to complement that portfolio of management and monitoring partners and consoles, VMware's vROPS. And the intent here is to make sure that every data center is different. Every data center admin has different preferences, tools, and consoles that they prefer to use and that they've already deployed and depend on, and we want to support what our users are already using. So we actually also introduced a new SDK so that as the market evolves, new vendors can also integrate and take this virtual GPU insights and integrate it into their management consoles. And so this next is just a double click so you can see the breadth of insights that we're providing. So at the host level, again, we're adding the per application, but we've already, within the last year, we announced physical characteristics, virtual GPU, discovery and properties, the ability to manage frame buffer and the encode and the decode. And at the guest level, similarly, the ability to manage frame buffer as well as the encoder and the decoder and GPU utilization. And at the guest monitoring level, we're adding, again, the per application level. And then this is just a double click on what I've been referring to as our quality of service capability and feature. So I know there's a number of customers on the call, so I wanted to make sure you had a comparison of what changed, because we had a time slice scheduler, and we continue to support that in Pascal for customers that are using that. But we're also introducing a new quality of service schedule that I had referenced. And as you can see, it provides some additional significant benefits. So it guarantees the CPU cycles per VM, which hasn't been the case with the time slice scheduler. You're really able to guarantee a quality of service for your users. It has intelligence and awareness about the virtual GPU. And the benefit of all this is it prevents the noisy neighbor problem. It prevents the problem of one user who might be running a really big model or a big simulation hogging more of the GPU than they really have allocated to their profile and crowding out or degrading a neighbor's experience, somebody else who's also using the same GPU. And then the frame rate limiter is not required, so for those of you who have used that in the past, there's a bit of an overhead with that, and that's not required for the quality of service. The one note here is that the hardware support is on Pascal. So you do need to be on a Pascal GPU in order to get the quality of service schedule and obviously the updated version of the software. But again, we'll continue to support the time slice schedule for those who have it or on Maxwell. This slide, I know, we get a lot of questions when we've been briefing customers about, what board do I use, how are they different. So this is also published on our website, so don't feel like you have to take a photo image of this and memorize it. It's published. But I wanted to take a chance to just pop through some of the key points. So like I said before, we are supporting all of the Pascal GPUs for all of our virtual GPU products. So all of the boards are supported for the, just to restate, for the Quadro Virtual Data Center Workstation, the Grid Virtual PC, and the Grid Virtual Apps products. However, we recommend the P40 and the P6. We recommend the P40 because out of the Pascal family, it offers the largest frame buffer size. So that means we're able to introduce and provide users with two new profiles that we didn't have before, or the two largest profiles, which would be the 12 gigabyte profile and 24 gigabyte profile. The largest profile available to a user on the Maxwell family is an 8 gigabyte profile. So you can see we can provide users with more power, more resources on the Pascal family of boards. And obviously we've also introduced a 6 gigabyte profile also on the P40. So for users who want performance, the P40, the P6 are definitely the boards that we recommend. The M60 and the M6 will continue to support for users. One of the benefits of the M60 is that it's a dual GPU board, and so you're able to support more than one size of profiles, because within a GPU you can only have one profile size. Since there's two GPUs on the M60, you're able to support, for example, a group of users that might have a 1 gigabyte profile and then a group of users that might have a 4 gigabyte profile. Then for density, we still recommend the Maxwell M10. The M10 provides the highest density with a 512 megabyte profile of 64 users. So for your knowledge workers, especially knowledge workers that are able to use a smaller profile, M10 is definitely your board. Now, these are recommendations. Every enterprise is different. We have customers that are wanting to go to the P100. That is supported. That is fine. And for some use cases, that is the best choice for them. But in general, the P40 and the P6 are recommended for performance, as well as the M60 and the M6, and the M10 for density. This is just sort of a summary slide of what I just went over, but I thought it was useful because there's so much data on that prior slide, just to hit some of the key points. So we talked about the Tesla P40 being good for performance, and one of the benefits of the P40 that isn't the case on the M60 is you're able to support CUDA workloads as well as OpenCL workloads in a virtualized environment. So one-to-many, more than one user on a single GPU on the P40 doing CUDA and compute workloads. It's the highest performance and the largest GPU of the Pascal family. It makes a great upgrade from the K2 or from the Skylake-based server. And for those of you who maybe were familiar with the GPU mode switch, that's no longer required on the P40. But having said all that, the M60 is still great, like I said, for customers who maybe want heterogeneous profiles and want to host two sizes of users who prefer the Maxwell architecture. And obviously, there's a lot of servers out there and a lot of options for users who prefer the Maxwell option. So this is just a double click, and really I wanted people to see where they can go to identify a server for the Pascal platform if they're interested in making this transition. So take a look here, and please go to the site, Grid Certified Servers. There's a configuration tool, and there's already, over 120 servers, 130 servers up there that can support these products in a virtualized environment. So I just wanted to recap. I'm almost done here, and then we can take some questions. So again, today we're introducing a new Quadro virtual data center workstation. This is an upgrade and a rebrand and a relaunch, really, of our Grid virtual workstation. We are upgrading and enhancing our Grid VPC and Grid vApps products with our August 27 release. And we're introducing a whole set of management and monitoring capabilities and quality of service capabilities for our IT users who want to make sure their environments are up and running and supported, to try to make your life as easy as possible, and so our IT admins have the brilliant experience that they're actually also delivering to their end users. So having said that, I think we can go to, so I did provide one slide on resources and where you can find us and ask questions, etc. So you'll see as we're making some changes to the brand, if you find us at TriGrid, that's still a relevant brand, and it's still where you're going to see the best experience and where you can also experience the Quadro Virtual Data Center Workstation. Our website URL hasn't changed. You'll see some changes happening as we transition and support the new branding, but for now, that's the website to go to. Same with our YouTube channel. We are updating our forum site, so you'll see a new look and feel there, and so it's where all of our experts are going to be, our NVGCA members. So if you have questions as you're evaluating and thinking about a deployment or a POC, please come to the forums and send your questions in. Same with our LinkedIn page, and then our NVIDIA Vert Twitter handle. So appreciate any traffic there as well. So I think now I am truly at my Q&A. So I see one question here is, are there changes in pricing? Let me open this up. The pricing does not change. It stays the same, and the product availability will be in September 1st. We'll make the product available, and there'll be some transition even with licensing. So if you're on a virtual data center workstation license under the Grid brand, and you're a subscribing customer, and you qualify for an upgrade, your upgrade would be to the Quadro Virtual Data Center Workstation. There's no incremental charge. The P6, I think there's a question about that, is for blade configurations, and it's a double the density. And I don't see any other questions. Are there any other? I'm going to wait here for just a minute. And yes, and I think the last part of that question was about the rack server M60. The M60 is still a good choice, and it is for a rack server. The only two options for blade configurations is the M6 and the P6. All our other cards are for rack and 2U server configuration. So we have another question here. Will the proposition also be offered to CSPs like Azure, AWS, software, etc.? Yeah, so we have a lot of our CSPs. I don't know if you saw our recent announcement from AWS. They recently upgraded to an M60, and I'm not sure what license they're on, but we are continuing to support our CSPs, and many of them have recently upgraded their deployments, and we'll work with them if they want to transition. Another question that came in is, can we use the same license we purchased for Grid 5.0? Yes, so Grid, if you bought Grid 5.0, you probably bought a version of that license, which was either well, the license for 5.0 technically is not available yet. You probably bought 4.3. That's what we're selling currently. I think some people might be familiar with this release as a 5.0, which is just the engineering release number. But in the marketplace, we refer to it as August 2017. But if you bought Grid in the past, you bought either a VPC license, or you bought a Grid vApps license, or you bought a Grid virtual workstation license. So going back to my prior slide, if you bought, let's see if I can get this present. If you bought the VPC license, you stay on a Grid VPC license. If you bought the Grid PC license, you will stay and upgrade to a Grid PC license. And if you bought a Grid workstation, virtual workstation license, your upgrade path for subscription customer would be the Quadro virtual data center workstation. And there's no licensing change to that, no cost change. So will the new Grid driver being released for us be available to download? So there is a license key that's required, and the download is available on the Grid website. And so as of September 1, we will be posting the software for download. And we will be, like we do today, we will provide a 90-day trial license or for a POC and evaluation. And then we will also provide the ability to obviously purchase that license for deployment. Any other questions? Wait a few more minutes in case there's something else. Well, I hope you found this useful. Send us questions. We also have a number of resources that we're making available to you in the chat that you can download and access. And we'll be doing a follow-up to this so you can actually, keep an eye open in your inbox, and we'll be sending out an FAQ and some follow-on. And if you're interested in learning more about the data, the workstation product, we have a PDF, a data sheet, so to speak, posted of that that's available through this. It's also on the website. Similarly, with the virtual PC and virtual apps product. And we also recently pushed out and made available 2 new GPU data sheets, one for the Tesla P6 and one for the Tesla P40, so you can learn more about those boards. Okay, so a couple other questions. I don't see anything that we haven't answered. So I think I'm going to thank everybody for joining, for staying with us through that. Really appreciate it. Let us know if you have any questions. Call your rep if you're interested in learning more or getting a demo and evaluating, or you want some support with a POC. We really appreciate it, and we really value our customers. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks so much, Ann, for that. That's a great informative session. I just wanted to remind everyone on the webcast that today's webinar is recorded and will be available for replay. You'll be receiving an email, and you can also check your link in about an hour or so. Thanks so much for joining, and please join us again for our future webcast. Thank you.